Hi, I'm Mariah Shimatsu, the owner of Movement First Wellness, and I'm here today to talk to you about core exercises and how you can strengthen your core as a dental professional. So when we talk about core, we're not just talking about the abdominals, but also the erector spinae that run along your spine and your glutes. So our core is essentially from here to here. So let's get started. In order to work our core properly, you first need to be able to find a neutral pelvis. So we're going to start with a very simple exercise called hip tucks. So come on down to the mat, and you're going to simply just lie flat, knees bent, feet underneath your knees, and then I want you to tuck and untuck your pelvis. What I mean by that is I want you to pull the iliac crest, the top of your hip bones, down towards your thighs, arching the lower back as if you were untucking the pelvis, and then using your abdominal muscles, pull the pelvis back down, grounding the pelvis into the mat, almost rolling the top of the iliac crest towards the floor. And then again, you're going to untuck, point the iliac crest towards your thighs, and tuck, rolling it back down towards the ground. So you're just going to give me a couple tucks and untucks, forward and back with the pelvis. So we identify rolling it forward, rolling it back, and then try to find right in the middle of that. So that's considered your neutral pelvis. So you'll still have a small curve to your lower back, because we have a natural S curve to our lower spine, but you won't have an excessive curve. You also won't be pulled down to the mat like we cue in most exercises. That's actually slightly incorrect, because you want to hold this neutral pelvis. So this is a strong core foundation. So let's take this position into a moving exercise. So this is my favorite core exercise. It's called dead bugs. You start neutral pelvis, knees are above our hips, you're pulling that belly button down, but again, we're not flattening our spine into the mat, and then arms come up, hands over shoulders. You're going to extend left leg and right arm. Now careful here that we're holding this neutral pelvis, and you're not allowing your spine to extend, okay, so that was wrong, and then come back to center. Opposite arm, right foot, left arm reaches, and come back. So you would essentially do somewhere between 8 to 10 reps per side, really focusing on that pelvis staying neutral while we're there, lengthening the core as we extend our extremities. If you want to take this up a notch, you could add small, like I have here, hand weights to your hands, find that neutral pelvis, and then work from that position. That will take this exercise up significantly. Our next core exercise is going to be bird dog. So we're going to come down onto the mat into all fours. So knees are aligned directly underneath our hips, hands are aligned directly underneath our shoulders. And again, from here, you could find and play with that hip tuck. So you could untuck and tuck the hips a couple times, just kind of loosening up the lower back. And again, trying to find that neutral pelvis. So after about 3 of them, kind of find right in between those two positions. So we do still have our natural S curve of our lower back. Extend that right arm, left leg. Now the key here is that our hips are going to stay squared down to the floor. You're going to flex those toes and extend that leg as if you're trying to stand on the wall, and reaching your hand out like you're trying to shake somebody's hand, so our thumb is to the sky. You want to plug the shoulders back down into the sockets so they're away from your ears, and you're simply holding about 20 seconds. And then we're going to switch sides. So again, hip stays square to the floor, extend the right leg, this time left arm like you're shaking somebody's hand, and hold. Now remember, we're not dumping into our spine and we're not rounding. We're keeping that nice neutral curve, and you're going to stay here. Now, you could work these into 2 harder progressions. So that's the easiest. You could come into bird dog, and you could from here just gently pulse up towards the ceiling about 1 inch. So we're not hyperextending the spine again. And that would add a little bit to this move. Again, even yourself out on the other side, so maybe you do 10 pulses per side. Third option to make this harder would be moving in and out of it. So you'd come into your bird dog, first make sure you have a nice solid foundation, and then you would actually bring the elbows and the knees. Now your spine will round here slightly because you're flexing the knee, or flexing the leg, pulling the elbow and knee in, and then extend back out. Only move into this progression if you can control as you extend that you're not dropping and hyperextending, okay? So the foundation of this pose is the key, and then squeeze. And again, you would do 10 reps per side, making sure you're balanced. So this is a great move because it strengthens not only the abdominal muscles, but also those erector spinae and the glutes. The reason that I love dead bug and bird dog as core exercises is because the core actually flexes the spine, but bird dog and dead bug work the spine into extension. So it teaches our body how to hold great posture while also strengthening the core. Another great core exercise is Superman. So you're going to come onto the mat, lying on your tummy, and keep your feet together. So you're kind of squeezing those adductors towards each other. Hands are going to start gently above your shoulders, and your head's going to go ahead and rest on the mat. I'm going to keep mine up for the sake of the video. And so you're going to go ahead and lift, squeezing the glutes, squeezing those erector spinae, and then I like to squeeze my elbows down towards my hips, kind of activating the big back muscles as well, those rhomboids and lats, and then release. And then you're going to come up, again, squeeze, and release. So you want to come up holding anywhere between 2 to 5 seconds, and then doing 10 reps all together. To take this up a notch, you can start with your hands up overhead. Same position, you're going to lift first, and then draw those elbows down as you squeeze towards your hips, and then extend. Only come here if the first position feels safe to your lower back. It's not creating any pain, because as you lengthen those arms, it's going to lengthen your lever arm and create more tension or resistance to that lower back. Also be careful if your lower back is feeling it to leave your feet on the floor possibly, only lifting through the upper body. Our last core exercise is lateral resisted band walk. So I'm a huge fan of working our core in more of a standing position than a lying down doing flexion and crunching position. Anything that you can work into extension or rotation is going to be much better because we spend so much time in our day in flexion. So for this exercise, you do need a resistance band. So I just have a piece of rubber tubing here, an exercise band that I've removed the handles from. You could have the handles, doesn't matter. And you need to anchor it into a point. So I anchored it into my door by just shutting the band in the door. So you want the band about chest height. And the key here is that you're going to hold on to the band. You're going to extend your arms so you're parallel with the band into your midline. Now as we begin to walk and step out laterally, you don't want the band to pull back or push forward. You want to hold it directly in that midline by using your core to do that. So from here, you're going to step out, holding that in the core, and the band in the core in the midline, and step back. Again, step out and back. So you're simply taking that lateral step. Now you want to make sure you have good posture here. Head, shoulders, hips are all in a line. And you're going to do 10 one direction. And then you're going to flip over, same thing, step out and back, kind of on a slower cadence. We don't want to move too fast. 10 on the other side. You should feel your abdominals, your obliques, even your QL and those erector spinae activate and turn on to stabilize that position in motion.